How's it going, everybody? Zachimus Prime, aka Zachimus Prime, here with another Transformers review. Let me get my camera centered properly. That's good. And today I'd like to review the Studio Series 86 Blur. Blur is a deluxe class figure, and he is actually really nice. First and foremost, I want to say that unlike the Titans Return Blur, this guy looks really good right out of the gate. The Titans Return Blur was like very, very blue, kind of like darker overall, and it didn't have any white on it at all, and it just didn't look very show accurate. And I know that Takara came out with a version that was painted better, but that, you know, cost you like an arm and a leg and a left testicle, and it was just kind of ridiculous. But this guy came out and just fulfilled everybody's Blur hopes and dreams. I will say, before I get too much farther in this, that this guy has two left feet. Or is it right feet? He's got two of the same foot. And that really will not become apparent until we get him into vehicle mode, and I'll point it out when I get there. But that is a production. This is a production error of some sort. It's just the sample. I haven't heard any notes of other people being like, "Yeah, mine's got two left feet as well." Or, you know, you'd think that if enough people have two left feet, then somebody's got to have like two right feet. But this is a properly engineered figure. I just think that this one was misassembled. But yeah, let's get into his review. In terms of accessories, he comes with two accessories. He comes with this, if I can hold it, geez, guy. He comes with this gun here, which looks pretty good. It is molded with plenty of detail. Of course, no paint or anything on it. Not that you could even paint this even if you wanted to, because it's molded in that, you know, unpaintable palm plastic. But that fits right into his fist, just like so, and he holds it admirably, because that's just what Blur do. He also comes with this little, like, welder thingamajig, which it also just fits into his hand. Makes it look a little comically large. I don't recall specifically the scene where this gets any screen time, so I can't specifically compare it to that right off the top of my head. I'm sure I could find it if I cared enough to look, but it does look rather large, but, you know, it covers up his hand, and I guess that's the most important thing. But these are pretty good accessories. You can store the accessories in robot mode. You can just take this and plug it in here. Boom. Like so. You can actually store the gun in there with it if you want to. And the gun looks a little more weird in robot mode storage than the little arc welder thingamajig, but, you know, what do you do? It's really intended for vehicle mode storage, but I'm just pointing out that it works in robot mode storage as well. He does have 5mm peg holes down here on the bottom of his feet, and I suppose if you really want to, you can plug something into his shoulders like so. But other than that, not really super huge on the whole weaponizer thing. Let's get into his articulation a little bit. His head is on a ball joint. His ball joint is down below his neck, in his chest, and so it kind of hampers his articulation a bit. Of course, it rotates just fine. You can see the entire transparent back of his head, but not a whole lot of the wiggly waggly or up and down. But, you know, his arm is on a detented swivel. You can feel that detent. Pretty obvious. You know, I mean, you can open this up and take a look at it. I do kind of like the idea of detented joints. They are not ratchets. so they're not all the parts and complexities in the spring and the, you know, fixture plates that go together and whatnot, but it's just a really simple mechanism that has an effective work. And of course, when it's detented like this, if you need to, you can pose it, you know, in between the detents, if that's something that you've got to do. One of the big things that I've got against ratchets is that they typically don't allow for in between posing, and so you're like either like, oh, it's got to be this or it's got to be this, and it can't be anywhere in between. So that was a big problem on several figures that I've had. But yeah, so his arm does go around on that detent. He does have a really good range of motion on that joint. This dedicated joint right up here. Of course, he does have a littler one down here, but this is really just for transformation, whereas this one is for posability. He's got a swivel here at the elbow, and his elbow gets 90 degrees of bend. His wrist actually swivels for transformation, but because this whole little pod is attached to his hand, and it fits into this little peg right here at the end, basically you technically do not have any posability, any swivel in the wrist in robot mode, and that's where I'm staying with that. He's got a waist joint though that wastes just fine. Hip goes that far forward, that far back. He goes out for the full Van Damme. 90 degrees of bend in his knee. A decent range of bend in his ankle. I'm going to do his other ankle as well. I think it's this one here that's the improper foot, so that's probably not what I should use as an example. I think that they are basically about the same, but you know, I don't want to give the wrong idea about anything. And then he does have, again, a detented bend in his toe. It's much more solid on this foot than it is on the other foot. You can actually like hear it. Click, 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 click. But that is going to be really good for, you know, it provides a lot of support if you've got any weight on that foot. So that's swinktastic. But anyhow, let's get into transformation. Transforming this guy up is not bad, but it's like really clever. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to yank his backpack out. You can take his chest and rotate it all the way around. These are going to come up and around. There's this little panel here that you want to open up. It comes over the fist, and then you want to rotate this like so, 180 degrees. Again, with this, bring that panel up and around, rotate 180 degrees. You can see here, this blue paint app continues, and that detail actually continues onto his forearm. But this forearm looks like it's made out of a different material. I almost want to say it's also made out of palm, but I'm not 100% certain. I'm not sure why they didn't continue that paint app, but they did not continue that paint app. You're going to take his arms and push them all the way down, and then you can take these light blue panels here and fold them out. Take this, bend this over, tuck that in. You've got a little seat here that you can fold out, and then his legs. I'm going to deal with that later. Rotate these around. I'm not going to put them into place quite yet, but we'll rotate them around. And then the legs will open up. And flip this out, fold them around. Fold these around. And then they'll clip back into place. And I think that this goes actually inside this little slot here on the butt. And again with the other side, unpeg the front of his shin, open that up, fold this around, avoiding all of his little arms and bits and bobs and whatnot. You do have a couple tabs here on the legs that you can clip those together. This little tab right here is going to fit into the slot on his boot. It clips in actually really good. And then there are tabs here on the back of the feet. And I don't have a good way of showing this. I may have to unclip this to show. Ugh, that clips together really well. That's one thing that I can say about this figure, is that when it's in vehicle mode, it is solid. Anyhow, there's a tab on the back of the foot that plugs into the slot right here. But because this particular sample has got 2 left feet, only one of those tabs plugs in. Let me get this back together so I can show you exactly what I mean. This one here plugs in just fine. This one here does not plug in at all. And so you just, for this, you have to just like leave this not plugged in, and it works just fine. It actually is almost unrecognizable as being a flawed piece there. So this has not really impacted that much, that issue. Take these, fold them back, slot them into place. There's a tab here, and a tab here. Boom, and boom, boom. Pull the seat back out. Come on. There we go. And there he is in his little car mode, and I gotta say, I really like the look of this. It's not a perfect figure by any stretch of the imagination, but I honestly feel like in terms of transformation and look and whatnot, gosh, this is the sort of thing that maybe Fans Toys should have gone with. That, by the way, was the most atrocious figure in recent memory. But this gun will attach in here. There's this little hollow part in the stock. It will attach in there. And then this, you've got these little 2 tabs. Goes into those 2 slots. So he's got his gun sticking out. That's pretty much the only place on this guy to store anything. Like I mentioned, these are 5mm peg compatible, so if you've got, like, you know, the effects parts from maybe Jetfire or something like that, which I don't have handy, you could stick them right here, and he could be going super fast. But no wheels, no landing gears, no funny business down here. He does have 5mm pegs, so you could probably rig something like that if you really needed to display him aerial. But other than that, he just sits there and he looks like a really good representation of Blur. And I like that. This guy receives full recommendation from me. I would say if you are interested in making a movie figure collection, 1986 movie figure collection, definitely go get one. It's a fun figure, and the figure itself has some really great engineering on it. But anyhow, that's enough for me today. Thanks for watching. You guys are fantastic. Everybody stay awesome and be good to each other. I'll see you around. Bye.